Hana never thought something simple could change her life forever. She was just tired. The day was hot and the subway smelled like old metal and sweat. People stood shoulder to shoulder, faces blank, eyes glued to their phones. It was another day in Seoul, busy and loud. Nothing ever changed. Hana felt trapped in a loop. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. But that night, something strange happened. The subway doors opened at City Hall Station. A tall figure stepped inside. Hana saw him first. He wore a long, dark cloak with a hood pulled low. Over his face, the air around him felt cold, like winter wind. His presence made the noisy subway go silent. People moved away, heads down, pretending he wasn't there. But Hana couldn't look away. The man, or was he even a man, lifted his hand to grab the subway rail. That's when she saw it. His hand was green, covered with tiny scales. His fingers ended in sharp black claws. Her heart jumped. She knew he was not human. He was something else. Hana felt scared, but also curious. Why was he here? Why did he look so tired? She looked around. People kept scrolling on their screens or staring at the floor. The tall figure stood alone, swaying with the movement of the train. His shoulders looked heavy, as if he carried a big burden. Hana thought about how tired she was, too. Her feet, hurt from working all day at the coffee shop, she wanted to sit down at home and never move again. But then she looked at him again. His claws tightened around the rail. He was alone, like a mountain standing in the rain. Something in Hana's chest ached. She took a deep breath and stood up. "You can have my seat," she said softly. The figure did not move at first. Slowly, he turned his head. From under the hood, two golden eyes looked at her. They were like a cat's eyes, but bigger, deeper. They glowed faintly in the train's harsh light. "You offer your place?" he asked. His voice was deep and warm, like thunder rolling far away. Hana's knees felt weak. "Yes," she said, shifting her backpack. "You look more tired than me." The figure's eyes blinked once, slowly. Then he moved with careful steps and sat down on the empty seat. His cloak flowed around him like dark water. He sat tall, and straight hands folded neatly on his lap. Other passengers watched with wide eyes, but no one said a word. Some looked away quickly when his eyes turned in their direction. Hana stood holding the rail. Her legs trembled from exhaustion, but a strange warmth spread in her chest. The figure looked up at her again. "That is rare among your kind," he said. She smiled weakly. "Kindness shouldn't be rare." He was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke again. "I am called Ryan," Hana, she replied. Ryan lifted his hand and touched his chest in a small bow. His claws glinted under the fluorescent lights. Hana felt a soft wave of embarrassment. People were staring, whispering. She tried not to care. The train stopped at Namdaemun Station. Ryan stood up. He looked at her one last time. "Thank you, Hana," he said, before she could answer. He stepped off the train and disappeared into the night. The doors closed. The train moved again. The noise came back. People looked at their phones as if nothing had happened. Hana stood, alone, her heart beating fast. She touched the back of the empty seat and felt something cold and smooth. A small scale, green and shining, was stuck to the fabric. She picked it up and slipped it into her pocket. The night outside was full of neon lights and car horns. Hana reached her apartment, feeling like the world had shifted slightly. She washed her face, changed into pajamas, and lay in bed staring at the ceiling. She thought about his eyes, his voice, the way he bowed. Her phone buzzed. A message from her friend Duri popped up. "Duri, hey, did you see the weird lights in the sky?" Hana frowned. She looked out the window. Sky was dark, normal. Maybe Duri was joking. She turned off her phone and tried to sleep. But she kept thinking about the tall figure with golden eyes. What was he doing in Seoul? Why did he look so tired? Where did he go? The next day felt normal but empty. Hana went to work. She made lattes, wiped tables, and listened to old pop songs on the cafe radio. The customers came and left. No one smiled. Everyone seemed busy, lost in their own worlds. Hana found herself watching the door, half hoping Ryan would walk in, hood and all. He did. 2 days passed. Rain fell, cold and steady. Hana kept the small green scale in her pocket. She took it out sometimes, staring at it under the streetlights. On her walk home, it reminded her that the world was bigger than her small routine. It reminded her of him. That night, she sat on her bed, sipping instant noodles. Outside, thunder rolled. The city lights reflected off wet streets. Hana felt lonely, but stronger than before. She didn't know why she gave up her seat to the alien man, but she was glad she did. Then, in the distance, a strange light flickered across the sky. It looked like a falling star, but slower. Then another, and another. They moved together, dozens of them, like a flock of glowing birds coming down from the heavens. Hana stood up, eyes wide, as the first scream echoed from the street below. The night sky was tearing open. Hana stood by her window, frozen. Bright lights fell from the clouds like slow, glowing rain. Each light was a ship, black and sharp, wings spread wide like giant bats. They came down over Seoul, quiet and powerful. The world outside turned from normal to strange in seconds. People screamed on the streets. Cars stopped in the middle of the road. Sirens wailed far away. Hana's heart pounded. She grabbed her phone with shaking hands. News alerts flashed across the screen. First contact confirmed alien ships over major cities. She dropped the phone. The biggest ship of all was coming straight down. It moved like a silent mountain falling from the stars. It landed right in front of her apartment building. The ground shook. Windows rattled. People ran in every direction. Soldiers appeared, shouting orders, pointing guns. But no one fired. They were too shocked. A ramp opened on the huge ship's side. Smoke poured out, white and cold. A tall figure stepped through it. Hana's breath caught in her chest. It was him, Ryan. He still wore his dark cloak. His horns glowed faintly under the city lights. His eyes shone like gold. He walked down the ramp unafraid. Soldiers moved aside without thinking. It was like something old and powerful walked among them. Hana felt her legs weaken. Ryan stopped. In the middle of the street, his head turned up, looking directly at her window on the 5th floor. She knew he saw her. He raised one clawed hand. She couldn't move. His eyes locked onto hers like a beam of warm light cutting through the dark. Deep, echoing voice came from the ship's speakers. Hana of Earth, it said, loud enough for the entire block to hear. You showed kindness when others showed fear. You offered your comfort when others turned away. We have come to honor that kindness. Hana gasped. People around the street fell silent. Some were filming with shaking hands. Drones hovered, recording everything. Soldiers looked at each other in confusion. The ramp grew wider. More tall figures came out. They wore silver armor that shimmered like moonlight. Each one had horns, scales, and long claws. They stood behind Ryan in a perfect line. One stepped forward. His scales were dark red, and his eyes glowed white. In our tradition, the red-scaled warrior said in a slow, deep voice, a warrior who receives unprovoked kindness in exile must return that gift. We offer protection, loyalty, and the bond of union. Hana's head spun. Union? She stumbled backward, hitting her table. What do you mean? She whispered, but they all heard her, their eyes shining with ancient knowledge. Ryan took one step closer. His voice was softer now. When you gave me your seat, you gave me comfort I never expected. You reminded me that not all humans are cold. I want you to know that your kindness has meaning to my people and to me. The red-scaled warrior spoke again, voice like thunder. Are now under the guarding accord of the Dracheri High Blood. We will protect you. We will honor you. And our prince asks if you will join him. Hana's mind raced. Prince was Ryan. A prince. Her knees felt weak. She wanted to sit down, but couldn't move. Join you? She croaked. Ryan climbed the stairs to her building entrance. The soldiers outside did not stop him. The door buzzed open without anyone touching it. Hana, heard his footsteps in the hallway, calm and even. Then a soft knock echoed at her apartment door. She opened it slowly. There he stood, tall and shining. His horns curved beautifully over his head. His scales glowed emerald green. His cloak fell away, showing strong arms with shifting patterns of light on his skin. "You remembered where I live?" Hana whispered. "I remembered your kindness," Ryan said gently. Behind him, the other Drachari stood in silence, eyes watching. Rain started to fall, tiny drops sparkling in the strange lights of the hovering ships. Hana looked past him to see crowds gathering, phones raised, recording history. Ryan stepped closer. His golden eyes were warm. "Hana, will you come with me? Will you walk among the stars by my side?" She felt dizzy. Everything she knew was changing. She thought about the days at the cafe, the nights alone, the feeling that life was empty and small. The stars were opening above her, and someone was offering her a place in them. She looked into his eyes. He was fierce, but kind. Strange, but sincere. She could say no. She could go back to her old life. But she wanted more. She wanted to see the stars. She wanted to matter. She took a deep breath. "Okay," she said softly, voice trembling, "but I want the window seat." A moment Ryan looked surprised. Then he laughed, a warm, rolling sound that made the night brighter. "It is yours," he promised, eyes shining. He reached for her hand. His claws were sharp, but his touch was gentle. He led her down the hallway, past her old life. The door closed behind them forever. Outside, the other Drachari warriors parted. To make a path, people stepped back, stunned, silent, filming every step. Ryan led Hana up the ramp into the largest ship. The floor was smooth and warm under her feet. The walls glowed with soft, pulsing light. She looked back one last time at Earth, her home. She felt sad, but also excited. The ramp lifted. The ship rose slowly, engines humming with deep power. Lights flashed as the ship turned to the sky. Other ships followed, forming a pattern like a constellation reborn. Hana stood by a giant window in the ship's bridge. Ryan stood beside her. Stars filled the view, shining like tiny diamonds in endless night. He looked at her eyes full of quiet joy. "You gave me hope when I had none," he said. "Now I will show you a world beyond dreams." She squeezed his hand. The stars seemed to dance. The world watched from below as a simple act of kindness changed everything, and so Hana, once just a tired girl on a crowded train, rose into the sky beside a prince of stars.